welcome to This Just In with This Just In as your host, Justin Core. This is a show where we take a deeper dive into the stories and the things most important to you with the people who bring you those stories. And today, our guest, a returning correspondent. It's been far too long. Mr. Do Everything, Tyson White, a fellow member of the Wake Up Idaho crew. He does weather, he does traffic, he does news. You are a one-man show.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of everything. Even produced there for a while, and now I'm taking over this show too. So
apparently, see, this is clever. Joe often comes on here and is like, "This Joe in doesn't work." This is a clever dad joke. This
works, yeah.
Even though you're not a dad, but I am,
right.
So I appreciate it. Ani put this together. This is great. This Tyson.
That's right. Hey, it works.
That makes sense.
Only had to change one letter. Didn't have to add anything, Joe. So
it's the correct syllable. Yes. Yes. Only changed one letter.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And great.
I know. I'd like to know where they found that photo.
Question
where did
mark.
that come from?
That's from your previous stint here. Absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I think
that may have been a live shot. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask Ani about that and see where that lives.
Yeah.
That's
I know you're one of those guys who doesn't age, but how old are you there?
I would think 34.
22. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, maybe not. So welcome to This Tyson.
There we go.
Thank you for having me, Tyson. What are we going to be talking about today?
Oh, a lot of things. What are you doing these days? I mean,
This show.
Okay.
This show, but barely. Okay. Tyson, thank you. And also thank you for taking that down. Bailey, Tyson, you've been on Wake Up Idaho now for a year and a half.
Yeah.
We are on that show together.
That's right.
How tired are you?
Most days, not all that tired. I think the coffee keeps me going.
Okay.
And it's gallons probably at this point of coffee. So it's, it comes and goes. But no, most days I come in, I feel pretty good about coming in and getting things done. There's been a few days today, at this point in the day, kind of starting to drag a little bit. But
okay, good. Because I was a little angry when you're
by
like,
about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Most days I feel good. Most days I feel great. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? Let's talk of a single man without kids. All righty.
That's the key right there. So
yeah. And he is single, letting everybody know out there. So how much coffee do you think it is? For me, I limit myself to 2 mugs. I'm like, it's got to be enough.
Yeah, 2 here too, because I start feeling the jitters about 7 o'clock. Getting into that second cup, I'm like, okay, the 7, 8 o'clock hour are going to look really wild. But
that's what it should be. Those jitters are good, Tyson.
That's right.
That's the sort of frenetic, uncontrolled, shaking energy you need to get you through 4 hours.
But I know I
of
can't
the finest
keep up
morning
with
show
you
on the planet.
and Maggie though when it comes to the coffee. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Most days it's 2 mugs, sometimes 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of people ask me about my sleep routine. Tyson, what's yours to get you staying upright all the way through a 4-hour show? It starts at 5.
Yeah, at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're here about 3:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Usually. So
yes, that's right, bosses.
Yeah.
I'm here at 3:30 sharp.
Yeah.
Every morning.
I won't comment on that, but try to get in there at 3:30 in the morning. But I'm up at 2 usually, getting ready, kind of
up
taking
at 2?
my alarm goes off at 2.
2 sharp?
Not sharp, but right around 2. The alarm goes off at 2. Whether I get out of bed at 2 is the big
Tyson,
question.
how long of a drive do you have in?
About a 4-minute drive.
How long is your routine?
I like to take my time getting up in the morning. I kind of
do you like work out? Do like a facial, get your moisturizing done?
No, I'm not that
sophisticated.
Little manicure,
pedi.
No, not that sophisticated. I just take my time, have a little breakfast, and kind of get up and wake up. So, but I'm usually in bed the night before about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I've got that window to have a decent sleep.
Okay, I mean, I'm in bed normally at like 7:15, and then on my phone for 45 minutes. Maybe that's the problem.
I do doom scroll, so there is that. That's in the
Everybody does. We are Americans. Gosh, man, I'm up at, maybe in a little later than you, but I'm up about 2:50. 2 o'clock. All righty, kid. Good for you.
It's working so far, so
I don't want to dissuade you.
When we reach the 2-year mark or 3-year mark, then we'll see.
I don't want to dissuade you. No, that's just fine if that works for you. Also, nice commute. And we can both confirm an easy commute for us at that hour
3 o'clock?
in the morning. Now, one of your jobs here is traffic. You don't see it much in the morning. On my latest Growing Idaho, I talked about how traffic is growing right along with the state. Take a look at that. More people moving into the state means more cars on the road. In fact, Betway, of all things, claimed heading into Christmas that Boise would face the fourth most traffic congestion of any North American city this past holiday. Wait, of any North American city? Betway ranked the top cities to face possible traffic congestion as New York City, Chicago, New Haven, and Boise in fourth place. They based that on travel time, average speed, average December snowfall, last year's December traffic congestion, and this is important, anger toward traffic online. As you can see, these factors include 4 measurable statistics and then 1 prevailing opinion. Betway says Boiseans had the worst opinion of their traffic of any city on the list that I saw. To confirm that, I asked you all on my Facebook page if you thought traffic was getting significantly worse. And boy, did you all have thoughts. Well over 300 comments here. Scott said 100% yes. Megan said absolutely. Doesn't seem to matter the time of day either. Kathleen said significantly busier and a lot more hostile. But there was a positive comment from Chris who said, it's getting better. I love the extra 20 minutes it takes to travel 5 miles. Oh wait, no, that's sarcasm. But again, while passionate, those are opinions. And Betway, who did the congestion projections, is an online betting site. So while we can all agree traffic has gotten worse, what do the real numbers say as far as how much worse traffic has gotten? Here's the daily traffic stats from the Idaho Transportation Department. This is for the entire state and on state roads. 2025 is in gold. It's on top. 2025 is in maroon. That's right below it, etc., etc. Bottom line, traffic has gotten worse every year by about another 100,000 cars daily. That sounds like a lot, but it's only a little more than another 3% every year. That's not good, but not even in the ballpark of the worst traffic cities on the continent. But pro tip from both Tyson and I, just commute at 3:30 a.m.
Right. Yeah, easiest time to drive around town.
You're never going to see another traffic jam unless everybody starts commuting at 3:30 a.m.
That's the problem.
Then don't do that because then you're going to delay us.
Yeah, exactly. And I only hit one light usually most mornings, so and
Fantastic.
It's a very short light.
Very short light. And if it's red for too long, you're like,
yeah. What's going on?
Maybe I should creep forward. Maybe no. Tyson doesn't do that. Alrighty. Do you have any traffic tips for people? You are a traffic guy in the morning on Wake Up Idaho.
And last season when we were covering snow coverage, just pay attention. Slow down.
Pay attention.
Put the phone
right
down.
there.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a big
just
ask.
Focus on the roads. But I think the biggest thing is tune into us to see what's going on before you take off. That's the key. But also just know where you're going when you're going out there. Know your alternate routes. Know where the best ways to get to and from work or to school or wherever you're going. Know you've got a couple different routes because any given day there could be a major accident on the freeway or on Shinnon Boulevard, Fairview, and you've got to get around that and get to where you're going on time. Because if you're like me or Justin, you're heading out the door sometimes late. You want to get there on time. So know a couple routes and be aware of that. But again, tune in to us because we got it covered for you.
Yeah. And those alternate routes may be stacked up as well, but at least you'll be able to get through. Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. Pay attention. That's a big ask.
It is. Honestly, it is with the radio and then all the other traffic, your phone, your kids, your family members, whatever. Just focus on the drive.
Yeah.
It's going to be the safest thing for you and your family.
And if you look at like the actual numbers, I think Compass had traffic growing or increasing by 3-4%. Something like that. So, and we saw something similar here from ITD on the state roads. That's not a lot. But as we've seen, like if someone is not paying attention, that's one of the big reasons for wrecks. And there's a wreck, then all of a sudden now your commute goes from increasing by 3% to doubling in time.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, interstate's jammed up, Fairview, Franklin, like all those other alternate routes, Overland, all that's jammed up. Now I got nowhere to go, and the economy of the whole valley is shut down because some dude was on, X while he was trying to drive. So please don't do that. You grew up here, just like I did. How much worse is traffic now than when it was when you were growing up?
It's funny you ask that because I used to, we'd commute from Meridian into town for school. different shifts. I would stay with family in Meridian some nights, whatever.
Gotcha.
And commuting on the freeway then, it was kind of entertaining because I'd see my aunt kind of getting a little frustrated with traffic or whatever. And as a teenager, you're like, okay, this is kind of funny. Now that I'm actually driving in it, it's not so funny because you're dealing with those people that aren't paying attention or going too fast, going too slow, not paying attention to where they're going or what lane they need to be in. And you covered constantly with growing Idaho, the growth in this valley, you can't not see it if you've been here for 15, 20 years or more because one, we got more people here. We got more cars here. We don't have a mass transit system other than our bus system. Yeah. So those cars, it's just growing, and I see it all the time. Not just because I cover it, but because I'm out driving it. I'm going to the mountains or going out to Caldwell or whatever it is. I'm seeing it constantly, and it's grown significantly.
Yeah. Well, and also I grew up in Meridian. Went to school at Boise State. I was still living in Meridian when I was going to school at Boise State, and it was 30 minutes even during peak travel times to get to downtown Boise. It was also, I want to say, 2 lanes at the time. Yeah. And then it went to 3, and now, it's whatever it is, 5 or 6. But I think there's also a point there that as the population has grown, they have added lanes. Right. Fairview's gotten bigger, Overland, Franklin, all those. Chinden, 2026, of course, the interstate. But that hasn't really helped enough. Right. And I think if you talk to traffic experts and certainly Valley Regional Transit, they're like, the idea that adding one more lane to the interstate is going to all of a sudden fix traffic problems, it just doesn't work like that. Yeah. No. And if you go to bigger towns, you see just construction constantly, say on the interstate and highways.
Well, you got freeways going over freeways, and it doesn't seem to. You may be going 2 different places, but both of them are stacked up both directions.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's not really the answer. More people are telecommuting, virtually commuting. Right. That has helped, but that's also ending now. So
it is. Yeah.
Traffic is what it is. What have you learned doing traffic on Wake Up Idaho?
You kind of touched on the telecommuting thing because Hector and I both noticed Mondays and Fridays seem to be fairly smooth throughout the morning commute. And I've noticed that a lot of employers do their telecommuting on Monday and Fridays. Yeah. So you're seeing less traffic there on those weekdays, but Tuesday through Thursday, it's a free for all out there.
It's a mess. Yeah. It's not actually a free for all.
No, not a free for all. It just looks like a free for all.
It just looks that way. What's your worst getting caught in traffic story?
I don't think it was here. I think a lot of people kind of like, the traffic in the Treasure Valley is just horrible. There are days, and we have some slowdowns, yes. Go to San Francisco, go to Seattle, go to Portland, and then come back and tell me our traffic's horrible here because, like I said, you got freeways over freeways there, and you've got people trying to get on and forget what ramp they're on or whatever. They also have ramps on the left side and the right side of the freeways in those cities. Yes. So you've got people coming in and going off at the same time. Yeah. What is going on? So
no lane is safe. Yes.
I can't say the worst traffic story I have is here, but we are seeing that you spend more time on the freeway if you're going east and west or whatever, or getting out of downtown sometimes is a kind of a hectic because you've got either the connector or Fairview to get west. So.
And we've certainly heard that from people who have moved back, say, from bigger cities or moved here from those bigger cities that, like LA, it's 2 hours to get anywhere. Right. And speaking of adding lanes to a highway ain't really gonna fix it. You fly over LA, it's like there are 12 lanes all headed the same direction in LA, and they are all backed up.
Yeah, that's where we get some of those viral videos. Is just miles long of red taillights.
Yeah. Atlanta's a mess. Seattle, you talked about, that's a mess. That was also kind of designed poorly back in the 90s. Right. But I think people's problem is for a community this size. Right. It shouldn't be this bad. No. So, solutions, maybe more public transit, but again, you got to fund that. So,
the funding mechanism is probably the key thing when it comes to transportation statewide.
Yeah, so we'll see. But as we saw in that package, people love complaining about it. Absolutely. And I do as well, even though I never see traffic. But if I am delayed a singular minute,
oh man, I'll tell you,
commuting home at noon, I lose my mind. That's why this shift is so great for my mental health. All right, Tyson, thank you. Up next, we're going to talk about a new development that people have some issues with. That's next. Welcome back to This Just In or This Tyson with Tyson.
I like the sound of that,
It rolls off the tongue. Not bad. If you want to start producing this thing, maybe have at it. I'll keep my name and face on it, though.
We'll talk about that later.
He is KTVB's Swiss Army knife. Tyson White does a little bit of everything, including news. And you've been presenting a lot of stuff on a possible new men's housing development on the bench. It's been called like a re-entry housing development. Can you talk a little bit more about what this would be?
Yeah, the church, the Mountain View Church of the Brethren, is proposing this on their property just off of Cole Road and Settlers Avenue, kind of in the West Bench area out there.
Okay.
And they're looking to put, I think, 33 or about 30 apartment units. I think they're 3-bedroom apartment units out there, primarily for men right now, that are either looking to kind of re-enter society outside of coming out of incarceration, or maybe they're down on their luck and just kind of not having that opportunity to get out there and do that themselves.
Gotcha.
So the church is really looking to give a hand up to these men that are out there.
Okay.
In the future, they could potentially bring that to women and children and families. But I think right now, their primary focus is working on that subset of our community. So
gotcha. Getting a lot of pushback from neighbors.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Sounds like, so there was a protest last Saturday from neighbors out there, and I think their primary concern is safety.
Okay.
In that neighborhood. One of their things they were talking about was the community or the people that may be living in that development might not be the best fit for their neighborhood, in their opinions. They're also thinking about the proximity of this to schools like Fairmont and Capitol High School and some of the elementary schools, Mountain View, that are in that area too. Okay. And the kids that kind of commute and work and live around those. So they're looking, really, it's community safety, I think, is the biggest thing for neighbors out there. Okay. Now, for planning and zoning, though, they're looking at the amount of information from that safety net program that's kind of guiding this housing project. Okay.
So let's talk about first. As you said, it went before planning and zoning here Monday night. Aspen Chumpert doing reporting on this as well. Thank you, Aspen. And let's hear what the pastor behind this project said specifically about the kind of pushback that he has heard from the community.
Given the neighborhood, the church has implemented strong safety measures, making it one of the Valley's safest public places. The church also allows Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous to use its building for their meetings. These programs have proven their value, and there is a need for them in the neighborhood. They will continue to operate within the overall safety net program. The church also recognizes that its congregation represents one of the lowest social economic group in the valley. Given the church's open door policy to all, the church has been publicly painted by many throughout the city as the church of the homeless, the church of the felons, and even the church of the pedophiles. Nonetheless, the church feels it must maintain its open door policy for those that legally and safely can let attend.
So the pastor there saying that people are painting its potential future residents as terrible criminals. Some might be former criminals, but as you said, it is not exclusively like a halfway house or anything like that. This may just be, again, at the start, men who are down on their luck and they want to learn life skills and kind of get their life headed in the right direction. Point of the program, though, seems to be keeping, say, former criminals from reoffending or getting people back on their feet, correct?
Right, and that's exactly how the pastor described that for the Plan and Zoning Committee out there on Monday night as well. Mm-hmm. Just, it's not so much of, hey, these guys are coming right out of prison or right out of jail and looking to get back into society. It's maybe someone who's graduated college just has not been able to get his foot up into a secure position. So I think that's the focus of the church, and they're really just trying to make sure our community is getting all the resources they need, and specifically that subset of men in our community as well.
Yeah, and I hear it all the time doing Growing Idaho. People don't like growth. They don't like to see their home changing. I certainly understand that, and being worried about the safety of your family, very real worries. But I think this is where information is really critical, understanding what this project is and what it is not. And I guess that played into Planning and Zoning's decision on Monday to not make a decision. Right.
They deferred the decision. So what that means is the church now has up to about 60 days to go back and kind of work some of their plans, some of that planning and zoning proposal and maybe outline some more of what that safety net program is and how that is detailed and how those folks will go through that program, and also what that property will look like and how that will accommodate some of the concerns maybe that the neighborhood and those neighbors have of this project.
Gotcha, understood. So we will stay tuned for that. It takes a lot to get anything built in this area, so we are certainly not done with that. Tyson, thank you for that. And up next, a bunch of people jumping into freezing cold water for a great cause. That's next on this Tice/JustIN. We are back with KTVB's Swiss Army Knife, Tyson White, and sometimes host of his own show, This Tyson. This weekend, Tyson, will be the 23rd annual Gebert Arbaugh Great Polar Bear Challenge, named for, of course, the late, great Larry Gebert and the late, great Gary Arbaugh, good friends. Larry, a good friend and colleague of ours for a number of years. Tyson, for those who don't know, what is this thing?
We basically just go jump in the cold water.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, what it does is it's a challenge. It's raising money to help Make-A-Wish Idaho.
Yeah.
Grant wishes for kids who have some serious illnesses or terminal illnesses out there. So really goes to a great cause. But it's also kind of a fun event because you get to go jump in the cold water. Lucky Peak.
You get to.
The cold water might not be that cold this year because we haven't seen the cold temperatures, but it's still going to be chilly up there.
So everybody get out there, big babies.
Yeah, and last look, I saw they raised almost $74,000 of their goal this year, which is $120,000.
Yeah. So they still have a ways to go. Let's take a look at some video of last year. Last year they raised $110,000. Oh, snow on the shore last year. Oh boy. Those dogs are pumped.
That's what gets me. Yeah,
those dogs are really excited to go in there. The people less so. But look at those people staying in shoulder deep. They're like, no, we're actually that polar bear excited. Yeah.
Well, last year the water temperature may have been warmer than the air temperature, so it may have been pleasant to be in the water.
Warm up in that water. That is set. Those people dunk in their whole heads. They got their phones out. Gonna go viral for that for sure. Boy, that is awesome. What are some of your favorite polar bear challenge memories?
You know, one, seeing Larry out there on the water skis every year.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. Whether it was icy water or mild weather like last year, there was one year I think he described the water as gravel because it was just so icy and cold.
Because it was like hitting him in the face, the water droplets, but they were freezing by the time they were hitting him in the face.
It's like, oh my gosh, yeah. And he did it every year, and I think that was just seeing that out there. I think the folks that were out there and saw that too. That was kind of a big get to have them come out there and do that.
Yeah, and like a big celebration and someone excited to be out there raising money. And that's what Larry was. I remember I went out there one time with the late, great Teresa Palmgren as well, a great photographer here. Man, it's just sad to think about how many people we've lost. But events like this are such a great tribute to them and everything they did. And I remember how cold it was. There was, of course, like ice on the shore. So the water was lapping up on the shore. It was turning to ice. It was so cold. Teresa and I were doing shots, I think, throughout the Saturday morning news or something like that. And we were running to the car in between those live shots. We were even totally bundled up.
Right.
Caps, gloves, everything, and then throwing that heater on. It's like, oh my gosh, it is so cold. And then you see people out there in swimsuits jumping in that water. But again, all for a great cause.
Right, that's right. And new too, in the last couple of years, they've moved it from the first to the first weekend after the new year. So because it used to be on January 1st, and obviously frigid time of year. But
some people were also maybe a little not ready.
That's
to get
right.
out
Yeah,
there and
I think
it was.
They were trying to make it more of a
Eve
family event. So
celebrations, So you got a week to get ready. To get over that hangover and get out there and jump in the water. So, as you said, they're still a little short of their goal this week, but making progress. How do people donate? How do people get involved?
Head to makeawishidaho.org.
Okay.
You can go on there and donate as well. You can also sign up and get registered for that race out there. So, lots of ways. And, of course, we're going to be talking to the CEO later this week on Wake Up Idaho about... so a little plug there for Wake Up Idaho too. We're going to talk to the CEO about the
Good for you.
Great Polar Bear Plunge. So
I love the self-promotion. With traffic, watch us. That's a great
right.
tip.
Tune in.
For the latest on the Polar Bear Challenge, watch us. What day is that going to be?
It'll be Friday morning.
Okay, fantastic. So this will post Thursday. Or I'm sorry, we're doing this live. We're doing this live Thursday.
Okay, yes.
And you'll see her tomorrow then, unless you're watching this after Friday. Then you've already seen her. Tyson, thank you so much for coming on what apparently is your own show.
Tyson.
this Tyson. If you have any questions for Tyson or JustIN, text them to 208-321-5614. Use the hashtag JustIN. Or you can hashtag it Tyson as well. S-O-N is actually how you spell his name, or S-I-N. Who knows? He might be here next week. We'll see. If enough of you text in and say that you want Tyson to host,
Justin.
he is going to do it. He has plenty of time. He has enough time to spend an hour and a half getting ready in the morning. This guy needs more to do. Text in. We love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time on This Just In.